with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around with me. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Let's just when you thought you heard it all. There's a young lady from the UFC who was out waiting to catch a bus, and a dude tried to mug her. That's right, a guy tried to mug a professional fighter. And needless to say, it did not end well. Homeboy caught them hands. he caught them hands and her feet. It was insane. Now, just so we can put things into perspective, the young lady that I'm talking about is Pollyanna Vienna. She is a UFC fighter. She weighs 115 pounds. 115. She is a small woman, 5'7", 115 pounds. Like, in the fighting category that she fights in, she's not in lightweight. She's not in flyweight. She's not in featherweight. She's in straw weight category. That it doesn't get any lighter than straw weight. You have nowhere else to go. The only place you can go past straw weight is dust. Like, that's dust. Okay? You weigh next to nothing. This is why this gentleman, when he approached her at the bus stop, he thought to himself, oh, I got a victim here. And he walked up, and per usual, I'm going to give a little of my perspective, my take on this situation, just some words of observation. When he walks up to her, she's standing at the bus stop, she's waiting for her Uber. He walks up to her, he sits down next to her, he asks her for the time. She takes her phone out, she gives him the time. He doesn't leave, he doesn't go anywhere. And upon her realizing that he's not moving, she moves to put her phone away. At which time he looks her in the face and says, give me your phone. I have the Roscoe, I got a Blinky, I got the Heat, I got a Gamma, I got the Gat, the Mover, the Shaker, I got a Tool, I got a Ratchet, whatever you want to call it, other than the proper name, which will get me knocked off YouTube. But he threatened her with a weapon. Now, the weapon that this man threatened her with was this. He had it in his pocket, and he threatened her with the Blinky, said, I'm going to do some things to you if you don't give up your phone. At which time, Spider-Woman reacts with lightning quick, fast hands, and she realizes that at the proximity that he is to her, that he isn't going to be able to get his weapon out. She kind of doubted that he had a weapon. According to her, she doubted whether he had a weapon or not. But she said, even if he did have a weapon, we're so close that I'm going to be on him before he can get that bad boy out. And that's exactly what she did. She fired two in his face, two hot ones in his face. Then she threw a kick. Then she got behind him, pulled a rear naked choke, and choked his ass out. Then she sat him on the bus stop and waited for the police to get there. And while they were waiting for the police to get there, you know what he said to her? I was just asking for the time, as he was demanding that she let him go. And she said, the hell you were? Now we're going to sit there and wait for the police. And guess what he did? He sat there waiting for the police. Now I don't know if I can show you guys this or not, but this is what dude looked like. He was sitting there, look at that shirt. I can't even show you a close-up of his face because that will definitely get me blanked off of YouTube. But look at his shirt. She fired everything she had in this dude's face. Now here's my thing. For people who get excited about this kind of story, because I know I did. I was laughing my ass off when I heard about it. Because you picked the wrong one, baby. Because she doesn't look like, 115 pounds, straw weight. Like, you're not thinking that she bringing no heat with her. But apparently, she want all the smoke. Okay? Now, the thing is that when you go out by yourself, you always have to be aware of your surroundings. That's the first thing. The best piece of advice, self-defense advice that I've ever heard or ever received myself is that aside from knowing all the martial arts, knowing all the kung fu, knowing all the boxing, knowing all the wrestling and everything else, knowing hand-to-hand, weapons, all that, the best way for you not to get involved with a bunch of dumb stuff is for you not to be present when a bunch of dumb stuff jumps off. That guarantees 100% that you will not get injured, hurt, or robbed, or whatever the case may be. So the best way for you to decide whether you're going to be there or not, Your first line of defense is always paying attention to your surroundings. Who's coming near you? Who's talking to you? Who's moving? How are they moving? Do they look agitated? Do they look disturbed? Do they look like they're looking around for any prospective eyewitnesses? Because nobody is trying to commit a crime in broad daylight. Usually. Folks aren't trying to commit a crime in front of other people. So they'll be looking around. Sometimes you can pick up when people are looking around for other folks who may be eyewitnesses before they ask you to do something that they shouldn't be asking you to do. The second thing, you always want to be very careful when people start talking to you. Pay attention to the people who are talking to you when they approach you. And when they start talking to you, that could be a means, not always, but that could be a means and a method that they're using to close the gap. Because if they come up to you and they start threatening you, there's a possibility, like in a case before, I have to go back and redo it because I said the word. Because he had that paper tool that he was pretending to be something that it wasn't, he would have to chase her if he said, hey, stop, give me what you got, give me your stuff. He would have to chase her if she decided to run because there's nothing else he could do. So he tries to close the gap so that way he can get closer to her. So you ask like a very innocent question. Do you have the time? Do you have certain directions? Do you know where this is or that is? And they try to lower your defenses by asking you questions so that they can close the gap, they can get closer to you, and they can put their hands on you. Usually they try to get it within arm's reach or arm's distance of you. So you want to be very careful about your spatial recognition, how far you are from somebody. The next thing, although she was very fortunate, the biggest thing she had on her side, and I say this all the time, the best piece of advice I've ever heard, my dad actually gave it to me when I was a young man. He said, no matter what you know, like I'm not going to go into, what I may know, what I don't know. He said, no matter what you may know, you can know all the karate in the world, all the boxing in the world, all the wrestling in the world, whatever the case may be, but you keep it to yourself. You keep it to yourself. Because two things happen. When you run around and you tell everybody that you start taking karate, you tell people that you're taking kung fu or karate, jeet kune do, whatever the case may be, taekwondo, shotokan, whatever, hapkido, or Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? You start telling people that you know those forms of martial arts, they don't see you as the white belt you are when you first start. They don't see you as the guy who doesn't know anything. They see you as the people from the movies. And they approach you like the people from the movies. And in which case, you can find yourself in some serious trouble and with some serious danger because they will sometimes pick up things, or maybe they'll bring 3-4 people with them when they want to cause problems with you, right? So you telling them that you know this stuff, you can create a situation where you make them afraid or concerned, and they take that extra precaution and you take away your advantage. The second thing is, you tell people that you know these things, some folks will challenge you because they want to see what you know. They don't believe that you know what you say you know. So you might wind up getting into more trouble because you're having to prove to these people that you know what it is you say you know. Now, the biggest advantage you have, like this lady found out, she didn't jump up and say, you don't know who you messing with. I'm a UFC fighter and I'm a professional. So you better watch it. She got up and showed him. She knew what she knew, and she didn't bother telling him because at the end of the day, when she started firing them off in his face, he was going to figure it out. And he figured it out the hard way. And that's when you want people to figure it out. You don't want to tell people what you're going to do to them because you don't want them to be prepared for it. If she were to say that I'm a UFC fighter, he may have very well ran away or he would have left her alone, but there's a possibility that he may have approached her differently. He might not have given her the opportunity to fire off in his face the way she did or get off the way she did. He may have approached her differently. He may have approached her more aggressively and took away the advantage that she had. Let me know what you guys think down below because I'm kind of curious. This is My Take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like